There is a reason you've never felt at home in this world, a reason the conversations feel shallow, the systems feel broken, the paths laid before you feel like cages, a reason that no matter how hard you try to blend in, a part of you remains restless, unsatisfied, alien. It is because you were not built to fit in. You were built to see what others cannot see. You were built to stand apart, to stand above, to walk a path most will never have the courage to touch. Jung knew this. He knew there are souls born with vision so sharp it cuts through the illusions society depends on. He knew that the intuitive, the strategist, the empath, the rare ones who feel everything and analyze everything would never find comfort in the herd. Because the herd does not want visionaries. It wants obedience. It does not want those who see too deeply. It wants those who play along. And so, from the moment you began to notice the cracks in the mask of the world, you became an outsider. But here is the truth no one tells you. Your alienation is not weakness. Your inability to fit in is not failure. It is the proof of your power, because only those who stand apart can see the whole. Only those who refuse to belong to illusions can cut through them. Only those who live on the edge of society can bend it, reshape it, redefine it. And yet, most of your life, you have been taught to treat your difference as a curse. You have been told you are too much, too strange, too quiet, too intense. You have been pressured to smooth your edges, to soften your vision, to silence your intuition. You have been told to smile when you wanted to stay silent, to obey when you wanted to rebel, to follow when you were born to lead. And out of hunger for belonging, you tried. You played the role. You shrank yourself. You bent your soul into shapes that would fit their mold. But the mold was never made for you. And every time you forced yourself into it, something in you died. This is why you feel empty after small talk. Why shallow connections drain you instead of feed you. Why meaningless work corrodes you instead of fulfilling you. Why pretending to be normal feels like wearing chains. Because every time you try to fit in, you are betraying your own design. And betrayal of the self is the deepest wound of all. Nietzsche warned of this danger when he wrote of the last man, the one who avoids risk, avoids truth, avoids vision, and chooses only comfort. The last man is the one who fits in perfectly, who never stands apart, who never questions, who never becomes. And Nietzsche made it clear. To live as the last man is not to live at all. It is to exist as herd, as shadow, as nothing. INTJs, INFJs, you were not built to be the last man. You were built to be the exception. The strategist who sees the system for what it is. The empath who feels the undercurrents others deny. The visionary who cannot stop seeing what could be. You were built to walk alone if necessary, because solitude sharpens you. You were built to carry burdens that would crush the ordinary, because pressure forges you. You were built to endure misunderstanding, exile, even mockery, because history has always mocked its visionaries before it revered them. But to embrace this destiny, you must make a decision. You must stop trying to fit in. You must stop begging for belonging. You must stop apologizing for your vision, your depth, your difference. You must stop betraying your soul in exchange for comfort that never satisfies. Because here is the secret path to power. Your difference is not a wound, it is a weapon. Your solitude is not emptiness, it is sovereignty. Your vision is not madness, it is prophecy. And the very things that make others uneasy around you are the things that will make you unstoppable once you embrace them fully. Jung called this individuation the process of becoming your true self by integrating everything the world told you to hide. It is the path of dismantling the false persona, the obedient mask, the domesticated self, until nothing remains but the raw, unshakable truth of who you are. And that process is not comfortable. It is not easy. It requires fire. It requires exile. It requires the courage to lose the world, if it means finding yourself. But when you do, when you stop trying to fit in, when you allow yourself to stand apart, when you dare to become whole, you rise into a kind of power that terrifies the herd. Because a sovereign soul cannot be manipulated. A sovereign soul cannot be silenced. A sovereign soul cannot be broken. This is why they tried so hard to make you fit in. Not because you were wrong, but because you were dangerous. Dangerous to illusions. Dangerous to systems. Dangerous to mediocrity. Because you see too much. You feel too much. You refuse to play along. But dangerous to them means powerful to you. So stop trying to fit in. Burn the mask. Shatter the mold. Refuse the role. Walk the path alone if you must, because the path was never meant for the many. It was meant for the few, the rare ones, the visionaries, the sovereigns, the ones who were never designed to belong because they were designed to lead. This is the secret path to power for INTJs and INFJs. The refusal to betray your difference, the courage to embrace your exile, the discipline to sharpen your vision, the strength to stand sovereign in a world built on herd. And when you do, the same world that once mocked you, doubted you, resisted you, will one day follow you. Not because you tried to fit in, but because you finally dared to stand out. Fitting in is a slow death for the intuitive soul. At first, it feels like survival. You tell yourself, if I play along, they'll accept me. If I hide my intensity, they'll love me. If I pretend to be like them, I'll finally belong. And for a time it works. They smile, they nod, they say you're easy to be around. But deep inside, you know what has happened. You have silenced yourself, you have amputated pieces of your soul in exchange for their approval, and the approval never fills the void. Because the void is not created by being excluded from the herd. The void is created by excluding yourself from yourself. Carl Jung called this the danger of the persona, the mask we create to survive in society. The persona is necessary in childhood. It allows you to adapt, to navigate, to play roles. But if you mistake the mask for your face, if you spend your life worshipping the persona, you never become whole. You become a shell. And for INTJs and INFJs, this danger is lethal. Because your gift is depth, vision, authenticity. When you bury those gifts beneath a mask, you not only betray yourself, you poison yourself. This is why so many of you feel the ache of disconnection, even in a crowd. Why friendships feel hollow, why success feels empty, why achievements mean little once they are won. Because no amount of external validation can replace the power of internal authenticity. Until you stop betraying your soul, nothing will ever satisfy you. Nietzsche said, "Become who you are." But becoming who you are requires destruction. The destruction of the mask, the destruction of the false self, the destruction of the herd within you that whispers, don't stand out, don't be strange, don't go too far. To stop trying to fit in is not passive, it is war. And the battlefield is your mind. The herd within speaks through doubt. It tells you your vision is delusion. It tells you your intensity is weakness. It tells you your solitude is loneliness, not strength. It whispers that you are only valuable if you are accepted, only worthy if you are liked, only real if you are approved. And as long as you obey, the herd wins. But the moment you refuse, the moment you say, I will not live as a mask one day longer, you begin to dismantle the false kingdom. You begin to tear out the roots of obedience. You begin to reclaim your power. This reclamation begins with mindset, a shift so simple and yet so revolutionary. I will no longer measure myself by the herd standards, not by their definition of success, not by their idea of normal, not by their demand for obedience. You define yourself, and that single choice marks the death of their control. From mindset comes belief. Belief not in what you have been told, but in what you feel, in what you see, in what you know. INTJs, INFJs, your intuition is not an accident. It is not a glitch. It is not a flaw. It is your greatest weapon. You see the fractures before they crack. You feel the shifts before they surface. You predict outcomes others dismiss as impossible. The herd calls it overthinking. But history calls it foresight. And when you believe in your gift instead of doubting it, you step onto the path of power. Belief sharpens into clarity, the realization that you were never meant to belong. That belonging for you will always feel like a trap. That your dissatisfaction is not proof of failure, but proof that you were made for more. Clarity cuts through the guilt, the shame, the endless question of why can't I just be normal? The answer is simple. Because you were not designed for normal. You were designed for sovereign vision. And once clarity dawns, vision ignites. You begin to see your life differently. You see the patterns that have kept you small. You see the compromises that have hollowed you out. You see the possibilities that stretch before you if you dare to stop apologizing for your depth. And vision is dangerous not because it is wrong, but because it cannot be unseen. Once you glimpse who you could become if you stop trying to fit in, the false life you've been living crumbles in your hands. But vision without purpose is torment. To know what you could be and do nothing is the deepest suffering of all. Purpose turns vision into fire. Purpose says, I will not betray myself any longer. I will not waste my gift in the name of fitting in. I will build. I will create. I will lead. I will embody the life I was born for. Purpose is the vow to yourself that no matter what the herd says, you will walk your path. And purpose requires discipline, because the herd will not let you go quietly. The world will not celebrate your sovereignty. They will call you arrogant. They will call you cold. They will call you strange. They will say you've changed. But discipline keeps you rooted. Discipline says, yes, I have changed. I have killed the false self. I have burned the mask. I have buried the herd within me. And I will not go back. Discipline is not about control. It is about liberation. It is the daily refusal to betray yourself again. And from discipline comes action. Action is where the shift becomes real. Action is walking away from places where your soul starves. Action is saying the truth you have silenced for years. Action is building what no one believes in yet. Action is refusing to wait for permission. Every step you take outside the herd's boundaries is a declaration. I belong to myself now. And here is the paradox. Once you stop trying to fit in, the world begins to follow. Not immediately, not easily, but inevitably. Because the herd, deep down, longs for leaders. It longs for visionaries. It longs for those rare souls who dare to break free. And though it mocks them first, though it resists them fiercely, in the end it follows. This is the secret path to power for INTJs and INFJs. Not obedience, not belonging, not conformity, but sovereignty. The refusal to live as herd, the courage to walk alone, the discipline to embody your truth, even when it costs you everything. And when you do, you become untouchable. Because the herd can only control those who need its approval. Once you stop needing it, you rise above it. And from above, you see the world as it truly is, fragile, desperate, built on illusions. And you, the one who no longer fits in, are the only one with the power to shape it. The deeper you walk this path, the clearer it becomes. Every time you tried to fit in, you were negotiating away your power. You gave pieces of yourself to buy approval, and yet the approval never lasted. You bent yourself into shapes to be accepted, and still they found reasons to reject you. You silenced your truth to protect their comfort, and yet they still feared the weight of your presence. The herd never truly accepts those who are different. It only tolerates them as long as they remain hidden. So when you stop trying to fit in, you lose nothing real. What you lose is the illusion that belonging was ever possible for you, the illusion that obedience would keep you safe, the illusion that silence would win you love. And once the illusion dies, you are free. Carl Jung said, "The world will ask you who you are, and if you do not know, the world will tell you." That is the essence of fitting, in letting the herd tell you who you are, letting culture, family, society dictate your identity. But when you finally say, "No, I know who I am," the spell is broken, and the herd can no longer touch you. But freedom comes with a cost. The cost is solitude. The cost is misunderstanding. The cost is exile from the warmth of the crowd. At first, it feels like loss, but soon solitude transforms. It ceases to be emptiness and becomes sanctuary. You begin to feel the difference between loneliness and sovereignty. Loneliness is the ache for others to see you. Sovereignty is the power of seeing yourself so clearly you no longer need them to. This shift is the foundation of resilience, because once you stand in your sovereignty, rejection no longer breaks you, betrayal no longer surprises you, exile no longer wounds you. You become unshakable, not because the world stopped testing you, but because you no longer need the world to affirm you. Resilience then deepens into adaptability, because once you are no longer bound by the need to fit in, you are free to evolve. You are not chained to an identity. You are not trapped in one role. You can shed skins without guilt, reinvent yourself without permission, move in any direction your vision demands. Where the herd clings to certainty, you flow with transformation. And that flow makes you invincible, and adaptability sharpens into strategy. This is the hidden weapon of the INTJ and INFJ. The ability to see not just what is, but what will be, to anticipate movements, to sense patterns, to know the truth others avoid. Strategy is power because it allows you to move while others are still asleep. It allows you to prepare while others are still distracted. It allows you to act while others are still debating. The herd moves reactively. You move with foresight, and foresight is dominance. But strategy alone is not enough. It must be fused with purpose, because without purpose, your power becomes manipulation, but with purpose, it becomes transformation. Purpose aligns your vision with meaning. Purpose is the vow you make to yourself. I will not waste this sight. I will not bury this depth. I will not betray this gift in exchange for comfort. Purpose turns your difference into destiny. And once you walk in purpose, once you embody your vision, once you refuse to fit in no matter the cost, something extraordinary happens. The world begins to bend around you. The same people who once told you to soften, to hide, to shrink, they begin to look to you for direction. The same systems that rejected you now begin to imitate you. The same herd that mocked you now follows your trail. This is the great paradox. When you stop trying to fit in, you gain influence. When you stop begging to belong, you gain power. When you stop betraying yourself, you gain authority. Because the world does not follow the obedient. It follows the sovereign. Nietzsche called this the creation of values, the rare individual who no longer lives by the borrowed rules of society, but creates his own law, his own path, his own meaning. That individual is feared at first, resisted at first, but in time revered. Because while the herd clings to old illusions, the visionary carves the new world. And that visionary is you if you dare to stop fitting in. So let the herd call you strange. Let them say you are too much. Let them exile you from their shallow circles. You do not need them. Their rejection is not curse, it is consecration. It is the fire that proves you are not theirs to control. You belong to yourself now, and there is no power greater than that. There is a silence that arrives the moment you stop trying to fit in. At first it is unsettling. The noise of the crowd fades. The endless chatter of approval seeking dies, and you are left alone with yourself. But in that silence, something extraordinary emerges. You begin to hear your own voice again, not the echo of the herd, not the whispers of expectation, not the weight of inherited shame, but your voice. Clear, sharp, uncompromising. That voice has always been there. It was drowned out when you were young, mocked when you were different, silenced when you conformed. But it never died. It waited, patiently, relentlessly. And the moment you stop betraying yourself in the name of belonging, it rises with a power that terrifies even you. This is the sovereign voice, the voice that does not beg, the voice that does not seek permission, the voice that does not bend. And when you begin to follow it, everything changes. Carl Jung said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And now you understand that privilege is not given. It is seized. It is the result of burning every false self, of killing the herd within, of refusing to live another day as a mask. Becoming yourself is not comfort, it is war. And yet, it is the only war worth fighting. Because once you win it, you enter a state few will ever touch, a state of transcendence. Transcendence does not mean escape. It does not mean rising so high that you are untouchable by life's struggles. No, it means you remain in the world, but you are no longer ruled by it. You walk among the herd, but you are not of it. You hear their voices, but they no longer penetrate you. You face their resistance, but you do not break. You move with a sovereignty so unshakable that nothing external can chain you again. And this state, this unyielding sovereignty, is what makes the INFJ and INTJ so terrifying once they stop trying to fit in. Because the world cannot manipulate a sovereign soul. It cannot lure you with approval because you no longer need it. It cannot break you with exile because you have already mastered solitude. It cannot silence you with shame because you have already burned it in fire. You are untouchable. The herd senses this. That is why they always try to make you conform. Not because you were weak, but because you were strong. Not because you were wrong, but because you were dangerous. Dangerous to illusions, dangerous to mediocrity, dangerous to the fragile scaffolding of their small lives. But when you stop trying to fit in, you stop being their prisoner. You become their mirror. Your very existence exposes their cowardice. Your freedom exposes their chains. Your vision exposes their blindness. And though they will resist, though they will mock, though they will exile, they will never forget you. Because in a world built on illusions, the one who embodies truth is unforgettable. This is the secret path to power. Not assimilation, but individuation. Not conformity, but sovereignty. Not blending in, but standing apart. The secret path is not to become like them, but to become so fully yourself that the world bends around you. Nietzsche warned, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And once you stop trying to fit in, once you seize your why, your vision, your purpose, your sovereignty, there is no how that can break you. No exile, no rejection, no ridicule. You will walk through fire and emerge sharper. You will face storms and use them as fuel. You will lose everything and still remain whole, because what is truly yours can never be taken. This is the power of the outsider, the power of the visionary, the power of the sovereign INFJ and INTJ. Not to be accepted, but to be undeniable. Not to be loved by all, but to be remembered by all. Not to fit in, but to rise so high above that the herd can only look up in silence. So stop shrinking. Stop apologizing. Stop betraying yourself in the name of comfort. You were not born to fit in. You were born to walk the path alone until alone transforms into sovereign and sovereign transforms into power. And once you walk it fully, once you embody it without hesitation, you will see what the herd has always feared, that you never needed them at all. And so the truth stands raw and undeniable. You were never meant to fit in. Every attempt to blend, every compromise, every mask you wore, they were chains disguised as belonging. They suffocated your vision, muted your instincts, and betrayed the power that was always yours. But now the chains are gone. The herd within is dead. The mask lies in ashes, and in its place stands the one you were always meant to become: sovereign, whole, unshakable. Carl Jung said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. You have done what most will never dare. You have accepted your difference, your depth, your vision, your solitude. You have accepted the fire of your own soul without apology, without compromise. And in that acceptance, you have found the secret path to power, not the power of fitting in, but the power of standing apart. Not the power of approval, but the power of sovereignty. Not the power of being liked, but the power of being undeniable. The world will never forget you. They may resist you, they may mock you, they may exile you, but they will never forget you, because you are the one who dared to walk alone. You are the one who stopped begging for belonging. You are the one who rose where others knelt. You are the one who became sovereign. You are the one who became free. You are the one who became yourself